You walk into the dealership. The guy shows you two options: pay $28,000 cash today or finance it for $499 a month. You've got the cash sitting right there in your account, so you think, why would I ever pay interest? Just pay it off. Clean, simple, done. But here's what nobody says to you in that dealership. The people who paid cash, some of them ended up with less money 10 years later, and the ones who financed quietly built real wealth. Stick with me. The math is about to flip everything you thought you knew. What's good? My name is Ricky, and I spend way too much time thinking about how money actually moves. If you want to stop guessing and start knowing how money actually works, subscribe. We do this every single week. Here's where most people are right now. They've been doing everything right. They budget, they save, they avoid debt like it's contagious. And when they finally build up enough cash to buy something big, a car, an appliance, a major repair, they feel proud, like they won. And look, that feeling is real. Paying cash feels powerful. No monthly payment, no lender, no interest charges eating into your paycheck. That sense of control is not fake. But then a few years pass, and somehow the account never really grows back. Life keeps happening. Another expense shows up, then another, and that big chunk of savings just gone, replaced by nothing. Meanwhile, they're watching someone else, a friend, a coworker who's been financing things, using credit, carrying some debt, and that person seems fine, maybe better than fine. And it starts messing with your head. Did I make the wrong call? Was paying cash actually smart? Or did I just feel smart while slowly falling behind? That confusion is real. And honestly, it's not your fault. Because the way most of us learned about money was painfully simple. Debt bad, cash good. Pay it off, stay clean. Nobody told you there's a massive difference between dumb debt and strategic debt. Nobody explained that cash sitting inside a purchase is cash that stopped working for you the second you spent it. That's the idea that changes everything. And that's exactly where we're going. Let's challenge something most people never question: the belief that paying cash is always the responsible move. And I understand where it comes from. It comes from watching people spiral into credit card debt. It comes from parents who said, if you can't afford it, don't buy it. That advice isn't wrong. In certain situations, it's exactly right. But here's what most people don't realize. Cash isn't just money. Cash is opportunity. And the second you spend it, that opportunity is gone. Economists call this opportunity cost. Nothing complicated about it. Every dollar used one way is a dollar that can't go another way. Simple. So when you drop $28,000 cash on a car, you didn't just buy a car. You also chose not to invest $28,000. You chose not to let that money grow. You chose not to let compounding work on your behalf. That money is now a depreciating vehicle in your driveway, losing value every single day. Now compare that to financing at a low rate, say 4.9%, and investing that $28,000 somewhere returning 8 to 9% annually. You're borrowing at 4.9, earning at 8 or 9. That gap between those two numbers, that's called arbitrage. And quietly, that's how a lot of wealthy people think. Now, you might be thinking, what if the market drops? What if I lose that money? Fair. We're getting into the real numbers right now. But first, let go of one assumption: the idea that zero debt automatically equals financial wisdom. The math is about to challenge that directly. Let's run the actual numbers, clean and simple. You have $28,000. You need a car. Option A, pay cash. Car is yours, no payment, no interest, done. Option B, finance at 4.9% over 60 months. Payment comes out around $528 a month, and that $28,000 goes straight into a basic index fund. 5 years later, here's where each option lands. Option A, you own the car outright, but your $28,000 is gone. Had that money been invested at a conservative 8% annual return, it would have grown to roughly $41,000. Option B, you paid interest over 5 years. Total interest paid? Around $3,700. That stings. But your $28,000 invested became $41,000. Subtract the $3,700, you're sitting at about $37,300 net. So, option A saved you $3,700 in interest, but gave up $13,000 in growth. Option B cost you $3,700 in interest, but kept $13,000 actively working. The math isn't close. And here's where it gets really interesting. That $13,000 difference at year 5, leave it invested another 10 years at 8%, and it becomes $28,000. A decision you made at a car dealership is still paying you back 15 years later. That's the part nobody sees in the moment, because the effects are invisible at first. You just feel the car payment every month, and that feeling makes people second-guess themselves. But the clock keeps running whether you feel it or not. Let me give you 2 real situations. First, there's Terrence. Terrence is 34. He's been a disciplined saver his whole life, built up $40,000 over 4 years, genuinely proud of it. When his car breaks down beyond repair, he pays $22,000 cash. No payment, no stress. He sleeps well that night. But 6 months later, his HVAC unit dies, $4,800. His savings are already thin, so it goes on a credit card at 22% interest. He spends the next year just fighting that off. His investment account? Zero. Never started it. 3 years later, Terrence has about $19,000 saved, basically back to where he was 4 years ago, still starting over. Now, meet Priya. Same age, same $40,000 saved. Same situation, needed a car around the same time. Priya financed hers, put $3,000 down on a $22,000 car at 5.2% for 60 months, payment around $360. She took the remaining $37,000, put $25,000 into index funds, and kept $12,000 as a liquid emergency reserve. When her HVAC broke, she paid cash, no credit card spiral, no setback. 3 years later, her $25,000 investment is sitting around $31,500. Emergency fund still healthy, still building. Same income, same starting point, completely different outcomes. Here's what I want you to catch. Priya didn't win because she was smarter. She won because she kept her options open, cash available, and money growing at the same time. Terrence made the safe choice and ended up more financially fragile because of it. That's the trap. We think safety means spending the money we have, but sometimes safety means keeping the cash and letting a low-rate loan do the heavy lifting for a while. All right, real talk for a second. Here's what blew my mind when I first understood this. The reason most people never figure this out isn't because they're bad with money. It's because they were taught to feel good about financial decisions instead of measure them. Paying cash feels like discipline. Financing feels like weakness. Those feelings were probably installed before you were old enough to understand interest rates. And here's a stat that stopped me cold. The average American resets their savings account to near zero 4.7 times in their lifetime. 4.7 times the compounding clock stops completely. That's why so many people who work hard their entire lives still don't end up ahead. Not because of income, because of resets. Every time you drain your savings on a purchase and then hit an unexpected expense on high-interest credit, that's a reset. The clock stops, the compounding goes to zero, and starting over is expensive every single time. The people running the feeling as their strategy, they reset constantly. They just don't realize it's happening. A feeling disguised as a strategy will cost you, quietly, over a very long time. The fix isn't complicated. Run the actual numbers. Ask what each option looks like in 5 years. That question alone separates people who build wealth from people who stay stuck. Here's the mindset shift that actually sticks. Wealthy people don't ask, how do I avoid owing money? They ask, how do I make money work in multiple places simultaneously? $1 doing one job is slow. $1 doing 2 jobs at once, that's how compounding accelerates. Finance at a low rate, invest the difference. Your money appreciates in the market, and you keep your liquidity. That's not reckless, that's architecture. And it doesn't require being rich to start. It requires being intentional, asking better questions, running the numbers honestly. Time is the multiplier. Every year spent rebuilding savings you already had is a year the clock sat still. The people who win long-term never stop the clock. Let's bring it home. Back to that dealership. Cash or finance? The answer is never a one-size-fits-all.
But if you're borrowing at 5% and investing at 8%, financing can leave you $13,000 richer in 5 years. That's not theory, that's just math. 3 things to remember. Opportunity cost is real. Every dollar spent on a purchase is a dollar that stopped compounding. That cost is invisible in the moment, but massive over time. Liquidity is wealth protection, draining your savings to feel debt-free, then hitting a surprise expense on 22% credit erases everything you thought you saved. Keeping cash available is not weakness, it's strategy. And the clock is everything. Every reset costs you years of compounding. The people who build real wealth don't earn more. They just stop resetting. They keep money moving in 2 directions at once and let time do the work. That's the whole game. Not complicated, but it requires following the math instead of the feeling.
Look, if you're sitting on cash right now and thinking about a big purchase, run the numbers. Borrow at 5%, invest at 8%. Let the math do the work instead of your emotions. It's not a complicated formula, but most people never even ask the question. Don't be most people. If this shifted something for you today, hit the like button. It genuinely helps more people find this content. And subscribe if you want to keep thinking like this every week. See you in the next one.